Sony truly does deserve all of the backlash and all of the financial problems that they're having right now because we are finding out that they are still quadrupling down on live service games, saying that it's going to help grow the gaming industry and keep people connected, and this is still the future. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, it is so wild to me that a company refuses to listen to their customers and still expects people to shut up and consume the content that they're releasing. And over the past year and a half to 2 years, over 15 different games and studios have died under Sony because they've barreled forward with live service games that nobody wanted. And it seems that that's not going to change anytime soon because now we are getting the report releasing that PlayStation will continue to invest in live service games because Sony believes that they can help grow the gaming market and keep players connected for years. We are hearing that every company right now is struggling with hardware sales, game sales are still okay for the time being. Who knows if that will hold though? And live service games have definitely been hit or miss. There are some wildly successful ones out there like Destiny, even though they're claiming Destiny wasn't the smashing success they wanted. I find that hard to believe. You have games like Apex Legends, which have made a lot of money, but there have been a lot of failures, especially under Sony. Keep in mind that their next big live service games are things like fair games that nobody wants. Concord was supposed to be the future of Sony interactive entertainment for tons of years going forward. They thought that was going to be the next Overwatch. It was going to be a behemoth, died in 2 weeks. And I guess they think maybe Marathon is still going to work out, which is delusional. But Hideki Nishino, the president of Sony Interactive Entertainment, said the company still sees potential in live service games and wants to keep working in this area. We want to continue to challenge ourselves in this area, showing that Sony is not giving up on its plans for online games. The company wants to create games that have strong communities, regular updates, and reasons for players to keep coming back. And on the surface, I can understand that, right? They don't want to release a game that's alive for a month or 2 months and you get all of your sales up front. They want to be able to continuously monetize these experiences and have one team working on something for 5 years, especially when to initially develop a game, it costs hundreds of millions of dollars. But on the flip side, this is ultimately about monitoring and power and control, given the state of the internet with how many age verification systems are being put in place and how Sony's doing that at the end of the year, and how they want to be able to monitor what you are doing and saying and monitor your spending habits all the time. It's no shocker to see that these companies want live service games where they are requiring you to be online whenever you want to play this experience, and then they can ban your account if they don't like what you're doing. They can rip your purchase away from you. I mean, it is really dark and really shitty, but this is the state of just kind of the internet in general right now. And with how many of these live service games have failed, you'd think that they would at least take a step back in some way, shape, or form, but they're not. I mean, obviously, on the channel, I've talked a lot about live service failures and also PlayStations, but here are just some of the many studios that they've killed and games that they've killed. Firewalk Studios, London Studios, Neon Koi, Blue Point Games. Here are some of the live service games: Ben Studios live service, Twisted Metal, Last of Us, Spider-Man: The Great Web, London Studio live service, Neon Koi live service, Bungie's codenamed Operation Payback, God of War, Concord, Destruction All-Stars, Camden. I mean, the list goes on and on. You would sit here as a normal person and say, something isn't working, but not to them. They say, oh, we'll give it a few more years. We'll give it a few more good old goes. Maybe they're hoping that Fair Games is going to turn out to be really big for them and make them a lot of money. They thought the same thing with Marathon and Concord. Those haven't turned out well, so it's definitely a very, very bad look. And gamers have been very vocal when it comes to live service SLOP. These games have gotten completely and utterly rejected but Sony still thinks you're going to be a good customer and continue to pay for these. The type of game isn't the issue, who is making them is the issue. And I agree with this to a certain extent, but I also think that the type of game is still the issue. Whenever people hear live service, it's an instant red flag, and that does make people more hesitant to buy it. But I do agree that the Californication of Sony has been a very big issue. I do think that when you are very clearly trying to push a narrative with the content you are creating, and you are trying to get people to reprogram their brains and think in a certain way, and you are shoving all of these agendas down people's throats, yeah, that is going to also be a turnoff. So it is maybe a 50-50, but live service definitely has a negative stigma surrounding it. It's like they are addicted to gambling, and I get it. They make a lot of money off of video games. They figure that they have to take risks, and sometimes those risks are going to hit, but recently none of them have been hitting. They will never leer. Sony, we're doubling down on live service. Yeah, because Concord, the $200 million pronoun simulator with an ugly blue jacket brigade, clearly needed more strong communities, flop harder suits. Nobody wants your woke shooter museum. Sony saying they're still seeing potential in live service games conveniently skips the part where Concord shut down 9 days after launch. The genre's not the problem. Sony's hit rate is, and yeah, they need to actually be hiring talented, passionate people. They need to be actually making interesting, unique, fun, high quality content, and maybe some of these games would have a better chance of surviving out of the gate. But a lot of these are DOA. Just dumping money down the drain. I can't take it anymore. They're so freaking stupid. Here's the post from Tom Henderson on this topic. Certified, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man moment, and then rolling their eyes? Kills one major live service franchise, has no other studio working on a Destiny live service, fires close to 400 people at live service experience, and says they want live service games. PlayStation sucks. And yeah, you would think that if they are still committed to live service, they would still keep Destiny 2 alive until Destiny 3 was put into development, because clearly Destiny was doing something right. I don't believe that it wasn't making the money that they wanted. I believe that it was profitable. I just think they didn't want to deal with the leadership and that team size anymore. How many Concords is it going to take before they realize no one wants them? Them trying this again after all the failures they've had proves they didn't fire the right people, and I totally and completely agree with this. I think that the leadership at Sony right now is the major issue. Sure, I do also agree that the leadership on the studio level and the developers that they're hiring are another big piece of this problem puzzle. But I think that the Sony leadership, like Herman Holst, for example, is a major issue. And people like him just have to go. He's the one who literally put $500 million into Concord. He's the one that went out of his way to get Firewalk, thinking this was going to be the next big live service game on the block, and it didn't turn out well, and he has got to go. So PlayStation is claiming now that they want to revitalize the market with new live service games. They are quadrupling down on the SLOP, and you really hate to see this happening. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.